Daylight savings time.
Yeah.
Right. So let me get this thing pulled up.
Okay.
What is your first name or his first name?
I'm Byron.
Byron Sellers, right?
Yes.
And then your
Charnice.
first.
Charnice Williams.
Cool. Have you guys ever done something like this before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, man. It's good to finally get put a face with it too, man.
Yeah.
Definitely appreciate all
Right.
the love, man. It's it's a pleasure, man.
Well, it's interesting to me because before we started investing, I always thought that doing what you guys do was a viable option. I just had never seen people doing it or talking about it, or the people that you talk to about it, they make it seem like you can't, or it's so affordable that you think that it can't be an opportunity there. I think sometimes if it's not expensive, we think it's not worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so people still struggle with that when I tell them what we do, because we invest in Detroit.
Nice.
And the crazy part about it is we're buying homes, and I'm from California, but we invest in Detroit. And so in California, you have tract homes. In Detroit, you'll have a nice looking home. Across the street, you'll have a home that's been blown out,
Yeah.
but people will still rent that home.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It boggles my mind because it's like, I wouldn't live there.
Right.
Yeah. So very cool. Let's kick it off. I want to find out a lot about what you guys are doing. I know you guys are going to help a lot of people and expand your network through this. So let's get it going.
Oh.
This is the Thai Capital Millionaire Podcast. This is episode number 95. My name is Charles Oglesby, also known as Thai Millionaire. I'm the founder and the director of the Thai Capital Investment Club that now has over 300 members, also the founder of Tide Acquisitions, which is our real estate investment club. We have a lot of real estate going on. I'm losing track, but we're finishing up a few properties, going to be then going into finishing up more properties. So great things are happening. But one thing I always tell people is that we're getting great deals just by doing. So the more that we do, the more things that are coming to us. So our experience and opportunities beget more experience and opportunities. So that's just a push for you all to get out there and do something and not wait for the perfect plan. Don't wait for everything to line up. Just move the ball forward and things will find you. Make sure you leave us a rating or review, preferably a 5-star review. We've been getting some really great reviews, so I appreciate those. Also getting a lot of really good comments. Keep everything coming. And hopefully this show is of value to you all. Thank you all for tuning in. The purpose of this podcast is to share the stories of successful African-American business owners and investors so that people can learn that business and investing are the true keys to financial success and generational wealth. Today, we have a couple that goes by the Instagram name Mobile Home Elite Investors. I'm not sure what city they're out of. We're going to find that out soon, but his name is Byron Sellers, and her name is Charnice Williams. And here they're going to talk to us about just the great things they're doing in their community, the products they're launching, how they got started. So it's going to be a really cool show. I'm looking forward to just digging in and finding more about what they do. So welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here.
So what city are you guys out of?
Chicago.
Where, you know what? I guess I'm not that good with geography, but where's the Congo?
Oh,
Oh,
no.
Chicago.
Chicago.
Oh, Chicago.
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. Do you guys know like Real Estate and Chill? I'm not sure of too many other Chicago investors, but do you guys have like a cool network of Chicago investors out there?
So now we're actually really growing. Before it was more so family and friends.
Mhm.
You hear about a few, but now since we launched this, man, we have some great connections. A lot of realtors. I would say more realtors now, and so we can't wait to meet the investors and be able to share.
Awesome. So why did you guys choose real estate? What prompted that move?
Well, really, why we chose real estate, you know, at the time that we decided to start this, Byron was already on his entrepreneurial journey. I had just got laid off. So I was at the position where at first, you know, just being transparent and honest, I was applying for jobs. I applied for over like 200 jobs, but I didn't get that interview. You know, unfortunately, you know, in today's society, it's more about who you know versus your credentials. So at that point, that really just pushed me. And it's amazing that you talked about starting out, talked about that fear, you know, just pushing past that fear. It's amazing for myself. I was able to do that and, you know, come to him and say, hey, let's do real estate. And the idea of mobile homes came from a similar platform like this, a podcast. We listened to a podcast on mobile homes, and what really stood out to myself was the low startup cost, the low risk, the low competition. And I pitched it back to him, and he was game. He was all ready to go.
And so she said that you were on your entrepreneurial journey. What did that look like for you?
So I left my job back in March 2017, and I've been in transportation for 10 years. From bounced around from a few freight brokerages, and man, I was sacrificing all that time to be in real estate, and I didn't have the capital to get in it. I was fixing credit, and you know, we had got to the point where we were just kind of just like, man, we want to play in this game. We going to classes, but we just didn't have the capital. And when we came across that, we realized how much capital we can have. We were like, okay, like no BS. We got to do this right now.
Mm-hmm. So how did you get over that capital hurdle? Because I know a lot of people listen to this show, and that's their number one thing is I don't have the money to invest. How did you get over that hurdle? Because we all have to get over that hurdle. Interestingly enough, after you get over the hurdle, it starts to kind of fuel itself. But the initial phase is probably the most difficult hurdle. How did you guys do it?
Well, the first thing we did when we realized, okay, we first put up our funds, and we was like, okay, we're a little short. So we was like, you know what, let's take the risk. Let's go get some money. So we went and got a high interest loan, 22% loan for just $10,000. We was like, okay, well, let's take this risk. Let's start small. We're able to get that, and we just dug in right away. So honestly, I got a lot of no's at first, a lot of inquiries, but I was determined because I said, I know I'm going to get this stuff fixed. You know, somebody's going to tell us yes.
Nice. So what kind of stands out to that is you have an interest rate of 22%. How did you make the deal work with interest that high?
So our first home, I love that you asked that. So our first home, we actually were able to purchase 2 homes for $4,300. And I remember going into negotiations thinking all together, I think at first the homes were going to be right at, actually 2 homes were going to be at $8,000, which is not bad at all, right?
Bad, yeah.
And so I remember about to ask, like, hey, negotiate. And I was just like, maybe I should ask about 6. Shanice is like, hey, no, ask him 43. She said 4,200. I was like, no, I don't want to just disrespect them. So I was like 4,300. And he said, yes. I was like,
I told him, I just go for it. I said, the worst he could say is no. And
right.
So I was amazed.
Yeah, so those 2 homes, that's what changed it, because we listed both homes, one for 14, one for 12.5, and each home, one home we sold, our first home we sold for 10, the other one we ended up getting, we sat on that one for a little bit longer, we got that for $9,500. So one of them paid our loans, and then we made profit.
I like it. The reason why I asked that question is because I know what's possible. Yeah. When I feel like we look at stock market returns and think that that's what returns are supposed to be. And so you'll say like, oh, the average return is 12% in the S&P. But in business, you can get any return you want. In real estate, you can get any return you want. So you guys got like an infinite return, really, because you didn't use really any of your own money. One thing that stands out, and one thing that I kind of drill in on this show, is just the partnership aspect for one, but also the partnership when men and women work together, because I feel like it gives us that extra advantage when you work together, especially if you're working in the same business. And we've seen it multiple times in the show. We've seen it with Kendra. We've seen it with Charm City Buyers. We've seen it with the Hood Estates. Like, you get that partnership, and there's nothing really you can't do. Mm-hmm. So where did you guys go from there? What was the next steps?
Yeah, so I mean, at first, we were excited.
Excited.
I would say, like what I sorry. So in our webinar, we always talk about an investor mindset. And so one of the things we did, of course, we went and took a trip. We would have took a trip, but we realized, hey, okay, that's when we had to really switch it. Like, hey, we got something going. We don't want to have to take another loan out.
Exactly.
Right.
So our next deal was able to find a house for $3,000, and end up flipping that house for another $8,500. So we start realizing, like, hey, this flips are like they're coming and we're getting cash. It's paying us, and all we need is just like if we put another $3,000 to the side, we're gonna get another house. And we start building momentum. We set our goals for 2 homes a month. And we came very close to that. We slowed up towards the end because we started launching the educational program. But that really gave us the momentum. It was being disciplined because don't get me wrong, even though you saw some, again, they were smaller wins, but it was something that was just like, okay, we can't go do this, but it was just like, let's keep building so that way, we can kind of set up and we don't have to worry about, stress and bills and all that kind of stuff.
Right. And so when you say investor mindset, can you expand on that concept?
Yes. So, the biggest thing with an investor is, you can't invest off emotion. And so for when I really hone in on an investor mindset, it's really not only just the discipline part, but it's all about habits. It's really, being able to be disciplined enough to make your money work for you. And I know that was a concept that both of us had to, learn and kind of get that in order to really see the fruit of our labor. But yeah, to me, that's the most important aspect of any, any sector that you in when it comes to, investing money and patience and, really utilizing that time.
Yeah. I like one thing you guys said where you said, hey, we got this money, we took a vacation, but we realized like you have to adopt that investor mindset. And that's one thing I try to tell people is, and I don't really know the best way to phrase this, but you gotta look at the bigger goal, not the immediate goal. And an investor, they get money and they create more cash flow, they create more investments. And so I always kind of relate that to the game cash flow, where in the game cash flow, you only win if you get the income to get out of the rat race. You don't win by getting money. It's not called get money. It's called cash flow. And so all your money has to be invested in cash flow. So we've accumulated some good rents just in the first 3 months of this year. And typically what we would do is we'd give a distribution. But I'm saying, hey, we could give a distribution, or we could take this large lump sum and buy another house while still keeping our other homes. And then we just add to that snowball. In another 3 months, we can buy maybe 2 homes. Another 3 months, we can buy more homes. And so the goal is, how much rental income can we get? How much cash flow can we get? Not, oh, we got some money, where are we going to spend it? And I think that's the mindset that like a lot of us has to, not even in business, not even just in business, but in your job. It's like, if you have a job, you have a 9 to 5, like just because you get a bonus doesn't mean like, oh, cool, I need to take a trip, I need to go to Mastros, I need to do this. Right. So it's like focus on the long game.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the homes? Because I heard you say the word home. Are these homes? Are these mobile homes? What condition were those homes in? And what kind of did those deals look like?
So great question. So yes, mobile homes. I tell people another word, manufactured homes. We always, for us, we want to change the stigma of trailer.
Yes. So we don't use trailer at all.
Yeah, because it's like it goes along, with the stereotypical, and it's it's more marketable. So so our first 2 deals, we got a home that was actually move-in ready. We didn't need to do anything to it. And then the other home we got out the deal, we ended up getting that for $500. So one home was $37, the other one was $500. Yeah. We only put a total of $3,200 into it as far as rehabs. Mm-hmm. That was flooring. We put in like new toilets and paint, carpet in it. It really like her father calls it, just some makeup work.
Yeah.
And I mean, literally, like when you look at mobile homes, I love their basic difference in a mobile home and a regular stick-built house is the fact that a mobile home is built in a factory and transported, but it's built to last. And you'd be surprised. Like our first home had a jacuzzi in it.
Yes, you were amazed. Like they living out here.
Yes, and the more and more we do it, we see how the mobile homes is actual, like, man, I mean, structural wise, how energy efficient. It just it's one of those slept on things, and it really wasn't in our backyard, but to really go out and start seeing these communities, it's like, wow.
Yeah. Where are you guys finding these homes? How do you guys find a home? Do you direct market or do you go to a listing service?
So great question. So majority of it is actually like social media, apps. I'll tell people we always give out the gem of Craigslist. Even, as far as an app like Let Go. You do every now and then you might see something like on the MLS listings and things like that. But for us, it's honestly, we're at the point now we've been doing it where we're getting calls from park managers and saying, hey, we got this free up. Do you guys want to jump on top of it? Or, we got a list of, sellers who now want to sell their home. So now they're hitting us up, sending us emails. Hey, I got this home available. So, it's just really over that time building that database of leads.
Right. I think that's so key, man. A lot of the opportunities that people want out of the gate don't come to people who are just starting. You got to have a track record. You got to have a body of work. You got to have, I've done this with this person. And so they feel like sometimes they feel obligated to go to you because they know you can perform and they don't want to ruin their reputation. If they're going to give somebody a deal, they rather give it to you because they know you're going to take it from A to Z instead of saying this new guy who thinks he knows what he's doing, has ambition, he's read all the books. Like reading books is great, but action on top of the books that you read is going to get you where you need to go. So I think it's so cool that you said that because park owners are calling you like, hey, I have this. I know you guys are legit. I know you guys are going to do a good product. And those are the opportunities that people want out of the gate, but you're not going to get that until you take that 22% alone. And you gotta kind of pay your dues. I'm not really big on paying your dues per se, but I feel like what I always tell people is there's a lot more value in the doing and the learning because that's where you're going to really get your skill set, which is going to allow you to do those things. And so everybody's like, I got to get rich that first 6 months. I got to get rich. And they don't realize like, now you need to get rich in knowledge. And that rich in knowledge is going to make you rich. So just invest that 6 months, invest that 12 months, and you never know what you're going to do. So I want to talk to you guys about your team. How do you guys function as a team? How have you seen that by working as a team that you've been able to do more and be more and grow more?
Oh, so great question. So really it's cool the way we bounce off each other. I would say Sharnice, what I love about Sharnice is able to, and I don't want to say the word like say dictate, but she's able to delegate things from a more, literally cell phone, awesome, resource-wise, awesome. Like if we needed, like, hey, we need your handyman, we need, something where it's like source homes, like she has that ability. Me, I'm more the operational, and we play off that, whereas we know we both don't have to do the same thing. So for myself, I'm more operational. I'm more, hands-on with, actually going out there. And so that works. I think when we first started, we were noticing, okay, when we start doing the same things, that was cool. But what we were able to amass when we both start taking our separate roles, and it works cool. And it's funny because sometimes we're on the phone, even if I'm out on the road, we're on the phone the entire time just talking about it. And she's telling me, and she's I would say she's the lead magnet and the closer. All of our cash deals that we've done, like purely Sharnice, she gets the cash buyers, and I mean it's great,
Yeah, and that's just to bounce off him. That's what I was gonna say. When we first got started, of course, this was new to us as far as doing business, but then especially doing business together. So we had to really define those roles and be like, okay, you're gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. Let's come together and make this great.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes people can feel like working with your family or working with your friends or working with your significant other, is difficult.
Mm-hmm.
How have you guys been able to overcome those difficulties?
So I love that. So, man, one thing I would say is when we do, because we do clash, we do clash, and not in a bad, but the good thing is we always scale back and say, hey, look what we're clashing on. Look what we're disagreeing about. It's about business. So we see that we're both passionate. We see that we both want this. So, and that helps us to kind of just not take it personal, because again, we live together. We're in the same space. So that can, kind of just the energy level can, end up being thrown off. But it's really, we both look at like, okay,
right.
what, this is for the business. This is good that we're actually, not, maybe disagreeing on this, but at the same time, we know what we want best. We always say, like, this is our baby, like this is a kid for us. And we're raising this kid from the very beginning, and we want to put it in the best shape possible. So, that's one way that I look at it.
Yeah, and for me, the biggest thing is really just keeping that separation. Like, yes, of course, we have a business together, but you have to keep that separate from still that personal relationship as well. And I think as long as you do that, then you definitely can work great together.
Absolutely. What would you say was your best deal?
Oh man. I think we did honestly, I'm gonna say a long-term deal we did. So we our best deal we have. So we got a buyer in right now in a home. We structured the deal. We bought the home. We got that home for $2,500. So I'll give you a basic how we kind of structure that deal. So we based it off what the local apartment rent is. And the parks, just like HOA, condos, or they have HOA fees, right? It's called lot rent. So we normally have to split our margin with the lot rent. With this particular park, the lot rent was $350, and we were able to amass $550 a month from that deal, right? So equal to $900 a month that the person pays. So that $550 that we have, we put them on a 5-year deal, and so we're going to be gaining $33,000 from that initial investment.
Oh, 25.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that kind of speaks to this thing on your Instagram that says mobile home investing is the highest cash on cash return of any form of real estate investing. Yeah. Because you put in $2,500 and you get $33,000. That's like, I lost count on how much of an ROI that is.
Yeah, the numbers is amazing in this business.
Yeah, it's over 800%, man. It's crazy.
Right. A lot of people have this assumption that they can't rent mobile homes. They think that you have to be an actual owner of that home to live in that community. Is that something you've seen in certain parks but not in other parks, or is that just a misconception across the board?
So it depends on the parks. And just to really drop some gems, man, those are sometimes, a lot of times, the old mom and pops that's been, they had their parks like 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
And I get it, because they want to keep all money in house. But the good thing is, in the last 3 years, it's been a gold rush of actual investors purchasing mobile home parks. So we love it, because now we make their job easier by coming in and adding value to their park. So for us, they'll come in and say, hey, I got some homes, what can you help us out? And do. So for us, we see opportunity, like, okay, like, depending on what we can negotiate a house, we're really, our first goal, even though we're able to flip houses cash, our first goal is to actually put people on payments for the long term. Like, because again, like you said, it's crazy. So, you do get some no's, but like we on our webinars, we'll show, like, if you in the average state, each average state has over, almost 500 to 600 mobile home parks. States like Florida, almost 4,000 mobile home parks. You're in California, you have 4,000 mobile home parks in California. So it's just so much opportunity. So those no's is like, okay, cool, we're on to the next one.
Yeah. You know what's interesting about mobile home parks is a lot of times you'll see them in really good areas. So, like, I can't remember exactly where I was, but I was probably in like Irvine or Orange County, somewhere really nice. But like tucked away, you'll see a little mobile home park. Or we used to live in Corona, which is a pretty nice area. And then, like, I didn't realize this, but like 2 streets over was a mobile home park. It's just kind of tucked away. They just do their own thing. Is that something you've seen in Chicago? And if so, is that kind of a way to hedge yourself into a good community, which would allow you to get like a good buyer, good tenant, while also being affordable?
Yes, yes. So in the Chicagoland area, yes, there are some tucked like a little bit on the outskirts. But I mean, when I tell you they got mobile homes with upstairs now, upstairs and downstairs. Like that blew my mind. Yeah. like
That's
really.
nice.
Yes, I mean seriously, some gated communities, and normally those communities for us, honestly, not to say they're not good investor parks, but we find our better deals in those. If I had to grade parks like B, C grade parks, those A grade parks are sometimes the ones that really that's fine, but I might have to buy a higher home. I can go buy a brand new mobile home for 40, 50,000, and possibly over time make about 70 grand, which is still great. But then it's like for us, it's like we came up with a structure where we don't spend any more than 5,000, and that's all in. Like that's with everything, all of our expenses, 5,000, and we know that with that 5,000 we can at least get in the long run the minimum 18,000. Upwards to, again, you see, 35,000.
I like it. I like that a lot, because I think sometimes we glamorize investing and we think we have to go after the A-class properties. We don't realize there's a lot of money to be made in C-class, B-class, B-minus. So yeah, I think that's really cool. What would be your best advice for somebody looking to get into mobile home investing?
Man, my best advice is educate yourselves. Like, definitely learn the business. Don't just hop out there. We get a lot of people now, especially like in our DMs, that's just buying homes but not doing their due diligence to actually communicate with the park. And now they're getting in a situation where they're stuck because the park don't allow investors. So that's really my biggest advice that I can give anyone that's looking to get started. Like, please just educate yourself on the business.
Yeah, that too. And then knowing your state's laws on it, because a mobile home is classified as a motor vehicle. Mm-hmm. So the laws are different than a regular traditional home. So again, just like you said, definitely educating yourself, but knowing the laws. Mm-hmm. And honestly, don't being scared to take the risk. Like if you're willing to go in a wholesale and market and spend a few thousand, you should be able to do the same and own an asset. And just kind of being able to take that risk is a very low risk.
Are you guys still able to find deals like you're finding? Well, when did you guys get started doing this?
So February 2018, like literally. 2018. Yeah, we got introduced to it January, and in February we began.
Nice. And you guys have done how many transactions in this last year?
So 14
transactions. Have they all, well, I know that they all haven't been flips, but how many have you retained and how many have you flipped of that 14?
So right now, we have 5 in inventory, but right now we're actually taking the home back. So we're going to be at 4, but we're going to put that one right back on the market. So each one of those houses, on an average, we're bringing in $450 cash flow from each house.
Wow. That's another thing that I've noticed in low-cost properties is the cash flow is a lot bigger. Yeah. A lot of people, what they'll do is they'll take on these properties with debt and they'll rent it out, and their margins would be like $200 a month, $100 a month. And it's like, who wants to make $100 a month? Like, I can make $100 a month doing nothing.
Right.
Like, $450, $500, that's what you really should be aiming for. And of course, there's more risk. But one thing I tell people is you probably have more of an advantage in that community than anybody else outside of that community. And if you don't take advantage of that advantage, you're going to miss out on a lot of money. So one thing I realized is like all our tenants, they look like my cousin or my grandma. And so it's like, I know their situation. Like, I'm not over here like, oh, what do you mean it's going to take you 2 extra days? Like, I know how life can get sometimes. And so it probably helps them, but it gives us an advantage because we know they're not taking advantage of us in certain instances. And we know they might have some ups and downs in life. We know like one thing that I noticed, we have a tenant who her husband wasn't on the lease, but she always refers to her husband. And at first I was kind of upset. And then I realized he probably has like maybe a criminal record. And so she didn't want them to be disqualified for that. And so I was kind of mad, but I was like, if the rent comes and It's like I want them to have a house because they have like 2-3 kids. It's like, I'd rather you guys have a house and have your kids than keep going around getting rejected because he did something bad in his prior life. And so like, we can empathize with that. I can empathize with that. Maybe everybody else can't. And so it's like, by not being the person to step in there and provide those opportunities, then we do our community a disservice. And that's one thing I always try to tell people is like, if anybody is hiring people with a criminal history, it should be us. We shouldn't be out there like, please create some programs to hire our men. Like, we need you to hire them. Like, no, we need to hire them. We need to create something to hire our own people.
Love it, bro.
Like,
Love it.
So, man, let's talk about how, what's interesting is we had a similar goal. Our goal was not to buy 2 homes a month, but to buy 1 house a month. We didn't hit that goal. We ended up getting like 6 out of the first year to buy and hold. But one thing I realized is in doing those 6, it actually allowed us to do a lot more stuff this year. And so like sometimes the process of pushing through a goal actually prepares you to do bigger things in the future. Can you talk about how your goals last year are allowing you to do things this year?
Oh, man. I mean, like, so like the crazy thing about it, I'm gonna be honest, is, and it's so awesome. But so, that was our goal to get two homes a month. But now our goal, we have it on our board, October 31st, we want to actually have our first park. And that at first seemed a little bit far-fetched, but the more and more that we're meeting new people, the more and more, I mean, it's just the network is growing. We're realizing that this is going to happen much faster. Like literally we got emails the other day, an investor, he wanted to sell us his park. Somebody jumped on our live from North Carolina. He had 2 parks trying to sell. So it's like now the owners are coming to us, seeing the opportunity. So it's just, it's going to happen. We know it's going to happen much sooner, but that was our goal. I mean, we still have our housing number, we wanted to do 24 for the year. We know we're going to definitely surpass that, because it's like the program that we have, we're going to be able to, within a few months, offer JV deals for people and, give them, provide that cash flow. So,
nice.
So, I mean, for us, is really now trying to shatter those goals. I like kind of like the Grant Cardone thing, the 10X, and it's really, really just happening, man. Just seeing to be able to amass, because our goal is to become the largest African-American mobile home park owners in the United States.
I like it. I like it. What does that process look to buy your own park?
So it really is it's commercial property. So it's really you're purchasing the land.
Yeah.
And so what that process is, what I love about it, banks are more likely to give you the loan because the cap rates are like 9% and higher. Normally not between 9 and 12. You have some as high as like 15 and 20. But the finance, and a lot of times you can actually get finance if it's an older park, you get seller finance. So a lot of times you only need that 10%. We've been seeing parks in the range of, for us, about 500,000 to $1 million. So, man, for us, our goal is to get a park with at least 75 lots on it.
Yeah.
And if we can get that thing, and if within the first, year and a half, at least 90% occupancy, that's some great cash flow coming in.
Yeah.
Nice. What would you say was your biggest mistake in doing deals in your first year?
Oh man, okay. So it's funny because I wouldn't say it's definitely a learning, but for me it was a time. So our first rehab took our second rehab home, because the first rehab we actually got that pretty quick. Our second rehab home, we had a friend of the family that helped us, but he dictated our schedule on when he could fix it, and I had to pick him up. Yeah. And so. You got to think about, he lived in Indiana. We're in Chicago. So I was going from a different state to pick him up, then to go another 2 hours. And he was only able to work on Sundays. And that kind of cost us money because time-wise, we had to end up paying the park, our lot rent, and that rehab took over 2 months. So, instead of just trusting and just maybe putting an ad out to, actually get another handyman or somebody that, it was just like we were kind of stuck on it. And I think that was just a mistake because time-wise, we could have sold that house for more. We ended up dropping the price a little bit more because we kind of wanted to, you know, cut our expenses down. So honestly, I would say that to me, that was one of our biggest mistakes of just not just trusting and say, hey, let's find somebody else who can do this, get this work done. You know, just trying to be nice too. Like, oh, you know, it's a friend of the family, but
right. And also trying to save money, just to jump in, because I was going to say that same mistake. Yeah, definitely, you know, starting out, definitely just trying to keep it more in-house to save that money on labor. But now we know, like, it's okay to put that ad out because you can find handyman right there that lives on the mobile home park. So, I mean, it's so convenient.
Yeah. One thing I like about the mistake question and just mistakes in general is usually like when you make a mistake, you create a system and you stand firm in that system. So now it's like, you know that you're not going to hire the homie that is going to do it for less work because you know it's not worth it. And so that allows your business to improve. Yeah. So mistakes aren't bad things. Mistakes actually just kind of sharpen the edges and refine you and smooth out the edges. And I think that's really important because there's things you're going to get. It's not going to be a fun first year, but it's going to be a very informative first year. So, like, I mean, I've had examples where, like, our first rehab, we did it where we got a number, but we didn't get a firm number on a contract. And so in order to finish the deal, he was like, oh, I need another $4,000. And so now I don't do anything unless I have a line item contract. And then another thing that I learned is the reason why line item contracts are so important is so that I know and he knows what I expect. Because we had a situation where we hired a guy to do a property and create a turnkey property. Turnkey to him was everything inside of the door. Turnkey to me was everything, including the exterior. And so because we didn't have a line item bid, we just had like a contract that did have some things outlined. Like there was miscommunication there. And now I know going into future rehabs why that's important. And so I bring that up because they're mistakes, but they're really just lessons. And so as an employee, you're not allowed to make mistakes. As an entrepreneur, mistakes just make you better. Yeah. And year two, you have systems in place. You have this going for you and you know why it's important. And I think that's so key. I think we should probably try to run more towards mistakes and not away from mistakes because it's not fun. It's not comfortable. It hurts. You lose sleep. It's frustrating, but that pain is going to push you towards your purpose. Definitely. How do you guys determine the value of a home when you're buying it and with knowing that the value is going to be like after you rehab it and sell it? Are you guys doing comps kind of similar to how people would do like real estate, or is it the same process?
Well, I love that you asked that question. So honestly, when we first started, and honestly, even now, we determine the value. Like I might ask a park manager, like how much you selling your home for or how much you renting your home for. And whatever he tells me, I'm adding a premium price to that because we know we only need one person. Yeah. And so we may consider them a comp, you know, we can say the park, are we competing with a park? But in all actuality, our guerrilla marketing tactic is just bringing in more people, and we get people in faster sometimes than the parks. And we've built those relationships where, you know, the parks are actually showing our homes as well, you know, when they show people homes. But when it comes to the value, first thing for the long term, I find out what's the average apartment rent. So whatever the average apartment rent is, I base that on whatever the lot rent is. Lot rent, we're not, if it's higher than like $550, we really don't deal with those parks because we want more on our margin. So the lower the cost, so if it's a $200, so let's say lot rent is $200 in that area, and the average rent is $800, then I know I can go get another $600, $650 because, you know, they're already paying $800, you know, I mean $900 in their apartment, and our sales is why are you continue to rent when you can actually own this home in 5 years? And let this be your starter home, right? Because here's the thing: your credit might not be too good. Your landlord, you're renting, you got people living upstairs, you got people living downstairs. Get your own asset, build your credit up in these next 5 years, pay low cost, and now you have this, and then we'll tell them, hey, you can come back to us and we'll show you how to sell this home if you want to sell your home.
Mm-hmm. Are you guys able to command a premium price because of the rehab that you're doing, or how does that, or just because you guys just feel like you deserve a premium price?
Yeah. So for us, we not only do we feel we deserve premium price because we know we're providing home ownership within a very short span. We normally do contracts between 3 to 10 years. Depending on how newer the home is, if we have something in the 2000s, we're looking to do it like a 10-year term. Older homes, 80s, we're doing, 3 to 5 years. So, I mean, that like for us, that premium is just the fact that like, where can you own your own home in 3 to 5 years or 10 years? Right. Unless you have the cash, it's not going to happen. So we're saving you from that 15, 30-year mortgage. And again, this is a starter home for you. And you add value versus what somebody else telling you. Because like, again, like mobile homes do depreciate on paper, but there's not a lot of people actually going around like in mobile homes with, with the Kelly Blue Book value or something like that. They're not saying, hey, well, this home is worth this. They just want a place to live. And so the payments really work out because people still want to be renters. But then when you tell them, hey, I'm going to treat you the same way as a homeowner, that's more exciting to them. They're like, wow, like I never got this opportunity. And this is one thing I didn't share what I love about. We're not landlords. We're not. So when you're on payments, when you're on terms with us, you're responsible for everything, right? The only time we're calling you is if you don't pay by the 5th. but other than that, we're not landlords. We're teaching them home ownership. We're like, hey, if you get a mortgage, you can't call and tell them the refrigerator's broke. You can't tell them there's something to leak. You got to be responsible. And this is the responsibility that you have when you come into this rent-to-own situation.
Wow. So you said wow, that's really dope. That's actually really smart.
Hey, I'm blowing some minds when we say this stuff, man.
Yeah. You guys, because you guys are basically a bank. You guys.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's one thing I've considered doing. I don't know why I haven't transitioned into doing it because, I mean, we have similar markets where we can buy properties for relatively inexpensive, rent it out for a good price. But it'd be better if we just flipped it and did home ownership as a route and we'd save our money on the maintenance, on the roof, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's actually a really good idea. Man. Is that something that you guys were kind of pushed to do because of some parks not allowing you to rent directly to them, or is that just the strategy you guys decided to take?
Well, that actually, when we first started, when we first learned, we saw that people were doing, they call it notes. They put people on notes. And when we started looking at the numbers, like, wow, like, hold on, I can literally put like 6,000, 8,000. I can turn that 8,000 into 18,000. Like, it was just incredible. So every home that we market, we actually market on payments. But when we get cash buyers, they come in because we always put the price that we're going to take for the cash. And we get people like, hey, I want it right now. I'll give you cash. And it was just like, to us, whoever comes in there, if they get approved by the park, and that's a good thing. The park, what I love about the park has stipulations, which we run credit and we do background checks, but the park has stipulations that they have to meet to get in the park. So the cash buyers, we know, hey, they can say we don't have to run their credit because they're going to buy this. It's going to be outright theirs. No tag to it. So a lot of times those cash buyers are they're faster, and they want to get it right off their feet. So a lot of times we just end up taking that cash and then just trying to flip it and go, like you were saying, go get that 2 a month to try to get 2 more homes on payments.
Nice. I feel like I've asked you all the general questions. Let's talk about the content that you guys are putting out and the webinars and the courses. What does that look like for you guys? What's your I guess your product suite look like?
Oh no, great question. So the webinars, the free webinars, we always love having people on that. That is the introduction. Like we break it down. We allow you to see how many parks are in your state. So how much opportunity. We show some examples of real life deals that we've done. We definitely give you some history on it. Like a lot of people don't know, Warren Buffett he invests in mobile homes and actually owns the largest mobile home company as far as like a manufacturer. So he has an energy efficient home where he pretty much killed the game. He has over 30% market share. Then he created 2 mortgage companies because he realized that banks wasn't lending to people who wanted mobile homes. So he created 2 mortgage companies for people that are getting the $70,000, $80,000, $100,000 mobile home. So much opportunity. and just really just sharing examples of we do a few differences between if you were to buy a single family home versus buying a few mobile homes and then the numbers and like that. So once people kind of get to see that, then it's like, okay, the programs we offer, we have live e-courses where, we're actually going on live, and we're going 4 or 5 weeks, and we're teaching you literally how to how to prospect, how to buy, how to market, how to sell your home, close a deal, reinvest, how to structure your business to be a mobile home dealer. And then we also, next week, we have this week actually coming up, a 2-day boot camp. Same structure. We got an ebook for people who are kind of more visual. And then we have a webinar series where we really touch over the base and gives, if you're a seasoned investor, you can take that in the book and actually be able to go out in the field and, get started.
Where can they find all that information?
Yeah, so they can find it on our website. So that's going to be mobilehomeeliteinvestors.com. And then also on our Instagram at mobilehomeeliteinvestors. And we have that link in our bio.
Nice. So I have some questions that I have on Instagram. I need to pull them up really quick. I mentioned that we're going to be interviewing you guys today. And so people have some questions. I'm just going to read them verbatim. So if they make sense, great. If they don't, we'll make sense of their question that didn't make sense.
Okay.
This question says, on average, if you buy raw land and put a mobile home on it, what kind of cost are you looking at?
Good question. So the first thing is does that land, is it suitable to have gas, electric, water? So if that land doesn't, then that's going to come in your cost. So I don't really have that number depending on what area it is. But if you already have that, you buy land that already has that hookup, you're paying just for the transportation of that mobile home, depending on how far the mobile home is coming. We always tell people the mobile home can range on the low end about $3,000 to $4,000 to move, upwards to $10,000 depending on how far it's going. The setup, normally the same, the mover, they'll do the setup as well. So depending on, like I said, land all in, on a good move, you could be under about 20 to 25, 30,000, especially if you have an older home. If you're having a newer home, in the range of possibly 80,000 or so, all in. So it really depends on your market. It really depends on how much you're getting land for. But you just still want to make sure those key things are also permits. The permits for the move, not expensive, but it's a lot of factoring in like different costs. So we would suggest, if you're starting for your first mobile home deal, stay in a park, because a park will help you to actually know the rules. Park managers are very educated, and that can help them as well.
Nice. Can you place mobile homes on land bought in a subdivision?
Ooh, that's a good question. You know what? Honestly, I would say it depends. Yes, it depends on the community.
Yeah, it depends on the community and if they'll allow that. Like, you have to go to the county to make sure that land is permitted for that. But if they say it's a go, then yeah, go for it. We know a lot of like mobile home subdivisions, but only like maybe 4, 5, 6 mobile homes on the land.
Yeah, and a double wide is more like a single family home. So but it will definitely be much cheaper if they were to do it. Like, if they are able to do it, it will definitely be cheaper.
Nice. If you don't own the land under the home, where is the value in the property?
So what I love about it is we create the equity in this versus, like, again, a traditional home, the neighborhood or so the comps in the area determines the value. Like I said earlier, the mobile homes depreciate. So for us, with our terms really create that value within it, or I guess you could say the equity that we know we're going to receive within that home. But yeah, honestly, if you don't own the land, then that's why you're either getting that cash flip or to actually getting that seller finance. But long term, like you're talking about, like after your terms, no. So that's why we have those short term, more so short term goals and slightly long term goals with 5 to 10 years.
Nice. I'm starting to think that mobile homes being said that they depreciate is a hustle, because actual real property depreciates as well. And so it's like, what's the difference? I feel like it's a misclassification, and that misclassification creates opportunity for you guys, because you're able to buy something that has depreciated for a good price, but really there is a lot of value there, because the value is just in somebody being able to have a home.
Yeah.
So I think that's very interesting. The next question is, I think we kind of discussed this, but sometimes I find when we ask a question, another time we get a deeper answer. But this question is, what is the average cost to buy, and what are you looking for?
Nice, good question. So the average cost, depending on your market, like I know you're in California. So a California on the low end, California, you're looking at 10 to 15. You have markets where it's like we're in Illinois, we can buy homes as low as $2,500. So it really depends on your market. We always tell people startup cash, at least 7 to 10,000, starting up. And what was that second part of that question? I apologize.
What are you looking for?
So yeah, from there, I mean, what we're looking for is what is the apartment rent going in for area, and then what is the lot rent? If the lot rent is high, is no point. Like here in Chicago, you have parks, and I get it because they're near the Chicago land. The lot rent is $700, $800. Like you're in Cali and San Diego, it's lot rent that's going for $1,800. So for us, we look at what's the most we can make on our margins, for that home.
Right. California is terrible. I feel like we've really cracked the code, and I feel like this is why kind of like having limited resources and things available to you actually pushes you to think. And we don't invest in California. Like I would never invest in California because it just doesn't make sense. It literally, like, the numbers don't make sense. Of course, there's this idea that, it's an appreciation play, and sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it works against you. But what I found is, like, there's a huge opportunity in living in a high-cost state and in investing in low-cost states. And I call it the cost of living arbitrage, because you make more money, and especially if you work with people who also kind of live in like New York or DC or Florida or even like big cities like Chicago, there's opportunity in finding those little areas like in Memphis or in Baltimore where you can take advantage of opportunities that people who live there can't really take advantage of. So it gives you an advantage. This next question is, how do you overcome the depreciation of the asset?
I mean, that's a good question. Honestly, just by us determine the value.
That depreciation is fake, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're not looking to get it bought out by a dealer. Like we're not. That's the thing. We're not looking to get it bought out by another investor, because we are the investors. So once we put the family in there, it's all about situations. A lot of times families, like, again, they either want that starter home, or they're down. We get baby boomers that's downsizing, so they got the cash. They come in, like, we say they come. They're looking on Craigslist or something. They're like, well, hold on, this house pretty nice. They want $12,000 for it. Oh, we got that. Let's go ahead and buy that.
Yeah.
Right.
And so yeah. So
I feel like depreciation is fake. I feel like this idea that mobile home parks are low value is fake. I feel like saying that, like, because if you go to Detroit, if you're on one side of 8 Mile, it's more affluent. If you're on the other side, it's not. But the homes are the same. But it's fake, man. Yes. People want to dictate your value based off of like what benefits them, not on what your true value is. And you see that in the workplace. They're gonna say, "Oh, well, you're worth $50,000. You're worth $60,000." Like, no. I tell my mom this all the time. I was like, they pay you $90,000 to $100,000, but you can make $500,000 if you just chose yourself. If you just took your skills and marketed your skills to the world instead of marketing your skills to one employer, you can make $500,000. You can make $1 million. You could create opportunities for other people. I made more money last year doing consulting, doing all the things that my degree enables me to do than I did working a job, because they have to make profit off of my time as well. When it's my business, I get 100% of the upside. I pay myself. I charge what I'm actually worth, where I'm making $250 to do an hour worth of work as opposed to making whatever I'm making there. So basically the whole point of this rant is that don't let outsiders dictate what you're worth. Don't let the government dictate what you're worth. Don't let anybody but yourself dictate what you're worth, because they're going to lowball you, and they're going to take your stuff and they're going to charge you double for it.
Hey, preach, bro. Preach, man.
Yeah.
Man, so this is a good question. I think this is going to be the last of the Instagram questions. And this is, what issues have come about that you would say are unique to mobile homes?
That's a good question. Let's see. One right now we're dealing with, and I know this can happen in the housing sector, but like the pipes. So I think it's a lot of the pipe. So the piping is above ground, right? It's right under the home. So we bought a home like right before, I know you guys like that polar vortex.
Yeah,
we got a home, and I wish, well, one thing again, a minor mistake, the seller didn't winterize the house. Mm-hmm. So when we got it, we were actually going to do the winterize. We're going to get the house winterized, and the next day that negative 14 degrees, feeling like negative 40 happened. Pipes, all our water froze. And when you talk about something that was just like, okay, like what's next? It was too cold to get people under the house to go check it out, to even go look at it. And I mean, that was something that we, again, since this is our first year, this is our first winter actually really dealing with it. Mm-hmm. So that was a curveball from there. And, just getting quotes and everything. Again, that was pretty different. I think with a traditional house, you hear about pipes freezing, but it might take a while. Like that stuff froze like that, instantly. Yeah. Water worked one day, the next day it didn't.
How'd you guys get around that problem? You had to wait it out?
Yeah, so we waited it out, tried to wait to get warmer, things still. So we ended up finding that we did have a pipe busted, but the cool thing about a mobile home, a quick fixture, got a guy in there for $150, and went ahead and took care of it. And now literally Sharnice has a lady, she's going to be getting on the 1st of April.
Yeah.
Nice. We had a situation like that too. We own homes in Michigan, so that was right in the lane of the polar vortex as well. And of all the homes that we own, only one had a pipe issue. We sent the guy out there, he repaired it, he wasn't doing anything, and it cost us about the same, about $200. But I think what's really important about that is the fear of what can go wrong can keep people on the sidelines, and then also this enlarged idea of how much it's going to cost. Because you hear pipes burst, you're like, man, that's $1,000, $2,000. I don't got that kind of money. And you look up, it's $200.
Yeah.
So I think that's what makes this show important. That's what makes other platforms important, because it exposes people to the realities. Maybe the realities that their landlord doesn't want them to know about because they want to keep them renting. And so they'll blow up these issues and make it seem like, man, I got to repair the pipes. It's this. I got to play the plumber. And it's doable, it's attainable. Not just that, but the home ownership aspect of it is doable and attainable too. A lot of people remain renters because they're afraid of the repairs, and they don't realize that the repairs are manageable, but also as an owner, you're going to have to prepare for the unexpected, meaning that your lifestyle is going to change. But that's not a bad thing. You just you might be able to not eat out as much as you want because you got to put some money aside so you can protect your asset. But very cool conversation. I'm going to end with the wrap-up questions, unless there's something I missed that you guys want to talk about.
Man, I just want to tell you, man, your platform is amazing. Like, I'm definitely, before we I want to acknowledge you for what you've done, for what you're doing, and where you're going to go with this. And so much you're providing, so much opportunity. Again, man, like even I think people really need to hear your story of, again, not being complacent and going Cali to the Midwest to invest. I mean, with the platform that you're providing, like we're truly thankful, for the things that you've been able to just, display for us. And man, brother, like seriously, like truly acknowledge you for your greatness and your power. And man, like that's what I really wanted to just bring out. I know we're going to wrap it up soon, but no, seriously, like Charles, man, like you're a powerhouse, bro. And I'm excited to see what your next 5 years is looking like as well.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. That means a lot. Very cool. What is your favorite business book?
Good question. So I would have to say, of course, that changed my whole perspective was the Rich Dad Poor Dad. I read a lot. I'm more of an audio book guy, but that's the first book that comes to my mind because that gave me, I think, 2016, that changed my perspective and put me like, man, I'm in this rat race right now. When I was working my 9 to 5, I'm like, I'm in this rat race and I got to get out of it.
Yeah, for me, like I did Rich Dad Poor Dad as well, but really one of my favorite books is a book called No Excuses. And that's a book that I started reading when I first started this journey because, again, I had to get out of that fear mindset, that complacent mindset of that just, okay, 9 to 5, because I knew going into this, like it was no excuses. Like it was going to be a hustle. Like I had to make sure that I hustled and to make this work. So I would say that's one of mine.
I like it. Very cool. Who is somebody that you look up to and why?
That's a good question. So I got two. Of course, my father. My father is huge. My father has the biggest heart in the world. That's my Superman. Look, when you talk to me, you pretty much, it's crazy now. Like I look at times and I hear him talk, like wow, like just seeing where charisma and all that kind of stuff comes from. So just seeing what he was able to do for the family and what the groundwork he put, and now look to see how he's proud of myself. And then, from afar, man, I've always, Eric Thomas, motivational powerhouse, the passion, the drive that he has, even though it's different from, what we do. Like, I started, I became a life coach in 2017. So really just being in that personal development space, he was a person from far that it was just like, that looked like me, that talked like me, that really gave me just like, man, like she said, like really just that no excuses and then that dog. And
right.
That helped me to really develop to become fearless. So when I took on to this, I came into real estate like, oh yeah, let's go. Like no excuse.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. And for me, I would say really my father. And I say him because of just how he was able to push me through this. A lot of people when they transition, especially for myself, sometimes you don't have that support, even from your parents. When you tell them like, yeah, I'm not going back to work, they're like, what? Like they kind of give you that what? And, really like, I commend my father because he always believed in this. Like he was in, he's the one that helped us with our initial rehabs at first. He was the one getting on the road with us. So man, like I look up to him for just continuing to push me and say, hey, baby girl, you doing this. Like, we going to do this. You're going to make it work. And we going to show your mama. And now mama is all game and she's in it now too.
Right.
Her skeptic.
Man, that is so crazy. The parent aspect of doing all this.
Yes.
And it's not just our culture. I have a friend, he's from Pakistan. And he's in my MBA program, and he decided to launch his own business. And his dad was like, oh, it's not going to work. Oh, it's going to be hard. Oh, it's going to be risky. And if for anybody out there who's going through that, just know it's a common thing.
Yeah.
And it is possible to push through it. I've had the same situation when I've taken a risk and people tell me it can't work, tell me it's going to be hard, all this and that. And I think that the best way to kind of the best way to prove them wrong is to do it and be successful. And then as it's successful, then they become believers. Yes. Last question is, what does wealth mean to you?
I love it. So for me, wealth definitely, first and foremost, wealth is health. That's so huge. I know the more I take care of me and pour into me, then the more I'm able to give and to create, and attract money and things like that. So for me, yeah, my biggest thing is wealth is health. My health is so important, and it allows me to show up and to go out and to create, just be a creator. I'm naturally a creator, and man, so that's really it. I mean, of course, when you think of the monetary gain, you hear like my goal of my, I don't like calling them a vision board. It's just my goals. My goal is 8 billion. Like that's my number right there. And just really being able, the amazing part is like Sharnice knows that we looking at, I'm a madman with papers. And I'm at right now 4. Like I know how to get that 4. So now and then these next 10 years is creating that other 4 billion to get to that.
Yeah, and for me, I mean, what wealth means to me is really it means my legacy. Like, it's something I think about every day is that generational wealth. Like, I know what I want to accomplish in these next 5 to 10 years. So really just continuing to build on that wealth to make that happen.
Awesome. Very cool. I appreciate you guys for coming on the show.
Oh,
Where can people find out more about you? I know we've discussed, but I kind of want to circle back and say it again. Where can we find out more about you on the internet? Any programs you have going on? Promote everything you guys have going.
Nice. So you can definitely find us. Definitely want to check out the website, www.mobilehomeeliteinvestors.com. We are heavily active on Instagram. Yes. That is at Mobile Home Elite Investors. Also, like us on Facebook at Mobile Home Elite Investors. Subscribe to our YouTube channel so you get more in depth, and we dig in some deals. That's MH Elite Investors. You want to hit that red subscribe button once you come on there. And as well, we do email us. Right now, we're at the mheliteinvestors@gmail.com. And as far as products, this upcoming March 16th and 17th, we have a live 2-day boot camp, which is we're on the Zoom platform, and we're showing investors how to start, how to get started, how to buy and sell and reinvest in mobile homes. We're launching, we were going to push that date back March 15th, but we're still on pace to be launching our e-course on March 15th. That's going to be available. We're going to have 2. So if you're a Facebook person, we're going to have a secret group that you go on Facebook and actually learn that course, and also on Teachable as well. That will be on our website, and as well as on our link tree and on our Instagram. And then we have an ebook, How to Buy and Sell Mobile Homes. That's available if you're more the visual person. And then we also have a webinar series, which we actually be revamping and giving you guys more instead of compile. We're actually going to separate them. So now you can learn how to fix and flip a mobile home, how to actually, how to structure your deal. So that way we're breaking down and allow people to get more. And we do it at affordable. These are low investments that we're talking about for our programs, because we want as many people to get the ball rolling in 2019. But it's not going to be low as long. But but we want to definitely get some people rolling, get some great testimonials, and just build this community. We look at it as a family.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we'll have all those links in the bio. One thing I wanted to say is it was so interesting because mobile home investing has always been a strategy that I knew had to work on a numbers perspective. Like just looking at the numbers, it had to work. And so when I came across you guys' page, it was great to see that you guys are doing it. You're successful doing it, and you built a really cool brand on top of doing it. So there's so many options out there to create wealth. People, it doesn't just have to be what people tell you that you can do, like, oh, get an FHA home and house hack it. Like, yeah, that's a way, but there are other ways. And I was telling somebody, like, the only thing holding us back is our mindset. Like, you don't have to buy this 4-plex, 8-plex, whatever you're looking to do that you think is the way, because Bigger Pockets says it's the way. There's other ways out there. These people, they prove it. It's definitely more than doable. Thank you guys for coming on the show and taking time and just being super it's funny because, not really funny, but you guys just have a great personality. You guys always have like a positive response to anything I say. So I was like, man, I'm gonna be late. Like, don't worry about it, man. We're all having issues with the time. So that's really cool. I know you guys are gonna go really far. If I can help in any way, if this platform can help in any way, that's what we're here for. We're here just to elevate the community. As we all, as you win, we win. As I win, you win. It's all connected, man. So this has been episode number 95. We'll have all the links in the show notes. If you are looking to work with us either through the Investment Club for stocks or for real estate, email us at membership@capitaltide.com. You can also check out the website where we post a blog about once a day, a podcast once a week. We're also on YouTube. We're doing a lot of great things and just trying to work with a lot of great people and doing this to further the culture, because we believe that business and investing are the true keys to financial success and generational wealth. My name is Charles Oglesby, also known as Todd Millionaire, signing off.